If I take it across here, yeah. Again. So now we've got, boom.
Hi everyone, I had a student ask me recently, what's the point in traditional martial arts blocks? Like, are they even effective? Do they work? Why do I never see anybody do them in sparring? And furthermore, why don't I see them use them in, for example, mixed martial arts? If there's something that's effective, why do I never see them? So in this video, I wanted to address that point and show you how you might be able to use traditional martial arts blocks in an effective way. It's going to be a little different to exactly how they look in the patterns or in your forms or kata, but I hope this will give you some inspiration about how to use the knowledge of the past and apply it to the modern age. Okay, so the first technique we're going to look at is blocking at jab. Now, if you've ever seen a boxer throw a jab, it's pretty efficient, it's to the point, and they minimize the amount that they're exposed to a counterattack, and they retract that pretty quick. Right? So if you're going to do a massive block, like a huge block, like you'll sometimes see in patterns like this, the essential finishing position can be useful, but you have to shortcut the technique so that it's a little bit more efficient, right? Some of the blocks that you'll see in patterns include blocking this way, or blocking upwards, etc. So let's have a look at how we might be able to apply those against a jab or a cross, otherwise known as a reverse punch, etc. The first technique that we're going to start with is an inward forearm block this way. So you're blocking with the forearm, you've got this whole section to use almost like a windscreen wiper to block across your body. Now, where most people go wrong with this is they make the movement a bit too big. I'll show you some ways to make it a bit more effective. I'm going to chuck a mouth guard in. I hope you can follow along with my mumbling speech. Okay, excellent. So if you watch Aaron throw a jab to my hand here, look how quick it is. Nice. Again. Good. So if he chucks that to my, just hit my forearms. Good. Yep, good. Yep, nice and hard. Come again. So see how I use a very small movement to deflect that. Watch again. I want to make this real so that you really believe it can be used. Okay? Watch again. So if he throws it straight to my face, I'm just going to cover with my forearms. Yep, again. Perfect. Again. See how that just deflected it? Good. I don't take it any further than the center line. If I take my block across here, he punches, if I take it across here, yeah, exactly. Or perhaps he just throws a double jab, boom, boom. So if he throws a double jab to my hand here, exactly, again. Nice, one more time. Good. If he was to throw that to me here, go. Yep, one more time, go. So I only just move just enough. And again, I don't take it across the center. That way, one more. That way I can throw my counter quite easily. Yeah? If it was to throw a 1-2, let's have a look at a 1-2. Come. Again. Again. Very easy for me to set up my counter. You see this type of blocking used against straight punches? Great. You see this type of blocking used against straight punches and also against body punches sometimes. You'll see boxers in like a cage guard like this, and they'll cover into the center. The main thing though to consider is keeping it efficient. So if Aaron were to hit me in the chest with, say, his left hand here, good, a little stronger, brother. Yep, up here. Good, again. See how little I move there, and in fact, because he's putting a lot of force into it, when I deflect him, like there's a loss of balance because he's legitimately committing to me. This is how I would try to use an inward forearm block. Let's have a look at a different technique. Let's look at a block where we move outwards. Rather than inwards this time, we're going to go outwards, and we can easily either use the outer forearm this way, or you could use your knife hand this way, or instead of blocking with the outer part of your body, outer part of your forearm, you could block with your inner forearm this way, right? Even reverse knife hand. So anyway, the block is going across the center line here. The punch is coming once again like this. So if Aaron punches my hand, good. See that jab? Nice. One more time. Good. Again. Good. So he's hitting that way, yeah? Now if I have my hands in the center here, and I try to take my hand across the center line, by the time that happens, he's probably already hit me. So this type of blocking technique will be more effective when I'm already a bit side on. That way, my hand is already ready to block. So I'll show you what I mean. Get that mouth guard in again for protection. So if Aaron punches here, good, one more time again. Good. So I'm here like this, and he comes. Yep, punch it quick, brother, punch it quick. Yep, right here. So at the moment I'm just blocking that with my Philly shell. Hit me in the face. Yep, go. And this would be how you block, right? Go. You probably want to take an angle to the side because this is a danger now. If I stand directly in front like this and I block and I'm too open, it could be a body shot, it could come with an overhand, boom, exactly. So one of the key elements when you're trying to apply traditional martial arts blocks effectively, when someone's actually really trying to hit you, is to move just enough and also to ensure that you use an element of footwork. Because if you're not controlling the distance and the timing of when they can hit you and when they can't, it's going to be very, very difficult to pull off any kind of block or parry. So some of the key principles: moving just enough, so not over blocking or opening yourself up. Number two, make sure that you use distance and timing so that you can control the opportunities or the gaps or the windows when the opponent can actually punch you or strike you. And also, number three, make sure that your opponent is legitimately trying to make contact with you. It doesn't have to be as aggressively as sometimes Aaron and I are doing it, but if you get some gloves on, it just gives you the feedback to know whether they can actually make contact with you or not, or whether that would be realistic to some extent or not. One fourth principle, actually, that I haven't mentioned yet is the idea of centerline theory. So if you imagine two people fencing, for example, with swords, if I've got my sword out to the side like this and Aaron's got his in the center, it's going to be very easy for him to be able to stab me before I can do anything. So you see in like Western fencing, for example, or even in Kendo, Japanese swordsmanship, that it's very important to keep your sword on the center line. And you see that in a variety of martial arts. In boxing, you see it with a person's lead jab. Like if they want to keep it really long, they'll keep their fist between them and the opponent. In Wing Chun Kung Fu, made famous by the movie Ip Man, you'll see them keep their hands on the center line this way. It's for a similar reason. It's to control the center. And that way, any blocking or parrying is very efficient. So we can see the same sort of thing if Aaron's going to throw a jab towards me. So I'm just going to pop this mouth guard back in. If I'm southpaw and Aaron's orthodox, and let's say that he's jabbing down this line here, I can either block from the outside or the inside, but if I overcook either block, I'll create more gap for him to hit another one. So let's just assume that he's only going to throw a jab, right? Okay, so if he just punches towards my forearms here, good. A little quicker, good. One more, good. If I had my hand in between myself and him, and he punches again quick, that's it. You can punch. I'll just take my shoulder, go again. See how small I'm moving? So once I'm here, he's probably going to take this line now, right?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So I'm creating a window or a gap for him to go down. Now, once he takes, like, let's say my hand's a little bit outside here, it's going to be awkward for him to come all the way around like that, particularly from that distance. If he uses a hook, he won't reach easily because his arm will be bent, so it won't be able to reach. So he'll be forced to use a straight. If I come here, he'll more likely to take this line, boom, straight through. He doesn't even need to go wide, he can just go straight down there, but as he does it, he exposes himself. If he comes straight through the center here, then he's coming this way. So if he does that again, yeah, I don't need to overcook it too far and block right across. As the punch is coming here, if we just do it slowly and extend and push into my face, boom, yeah, one more time again. So be like this, yeah, come towards my face, good. Or a little quicker, yeah, again, go. And then it's exposed that way. Same thing if I'm on the inside, if he's coming this way, boom, yep, touch just slowly, slowly. Nice, just touch slowly, slowly, boom, here, that's it. So I deflect, yep, deflect off the line this way. Quick, this way. Just enough, not overcooking. As soon as I overcook and block like this, yep, so I overcook, boom, another one coming through. Whereas if I block smaller, even when the second punch was to come, I'd be ready to go. Yeah, try not to overcook it, protect the center line, and what you would also notice is I use the distance and timing. If I want Aaron to be able to throw a certain type of punch, I stand at a certain distance. I know from this position, Aaron can swing a punch, a very powerful hook punch, for example, at me, right? I know from this distance, it would be difficult for him to land a hook punch from there. If he swings it, it's going to have to straighten out towards the end if it's going to reach me. It's going to take a long time. There's going to be a lot of time to intercept. On the other hand, if he throws a straight punch from there, he'll be able to reach quite easily and effectively. If I can control the distance correctly, I can predict more easily what he's going to be able to throw. For example, if he were to throw a jab here, but I stayed in close, now from this position, if this punch comes, I know that I could cover from the inside. If I was going to stay further out, I would know that I'd be able to block from this side. That wouldn't work well though if I stayed in here. I'll eat that punch. I'm too close. There's not enough time for me to be able to register that as a punch. Yeah, so depending on the angle that I'm at and the distance that I'm at, I can sort of predict which type of punches he might actually use. We can either parry inwards or outwards, but the key thing is to keep your hand on the center line and move just enough.